Hello everyone, my name is Kristin Bruderer and today I am presenting a change proposal focused on embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives in early childhood education. This initiative aims to create a learning environment that is culturally rich, inclusive and aligned with national educational frameworks, ensuring that all children benefit from culturally responsive teaching practices. The guiding research question for this proposal is: how can early childhood education services effectively embed Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives into daily practices to foster cultural respect, understanding, and inclusivity among children and educators? This question focuses not only on what Indigenous perspectives should be included, but also on how they can be integrated meaningfully and sustainably. The goal is to ensure that our programs do not simply celebrate cultural events superficially, but instead embed the Indigenous knowledge, stories, and practices into everyday learning. Embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives is essential in early childhood education. Despite Australia's multicultural society, First Nations histories and cultures remain underrepresented in many early learning programs. This lack of representation can unintentionally reinforce systemic inequities and limit children's understanding of cultural diversity. By actively including Indigenous perspectives, we provide children with a more balanced understanding of Australia's national identity while fostering respect and appreciation for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. Early exposure to culturally diverse narratives helps children develop empathy, social awareness, and inclusive attitudes. For Indigenous children, seeing their culture reflected strengthens identity, belonging, and pride, which are critical for social and emotional development. Importantly, these initiatives move beyond tokenistic gestures, such as celebrating NAIDOC Week, and instead involve authentic engagement with Indigenous stories, tradition, art, music, and languages. Research shows that children exposed to diverse cultural narratives develop empathy, respect, and inclusive social skills. Early childhood is a formative period for understanding relationships, social norms, and the wider world. Embedding Indigenous perspectives creates an environment that values First Nation histories, cultures, and contributions. It benefits Indigenous children by validating their culture and benefits all children by broadening their understanding of society. Integration goes beyond tokenism, incorporating Indigenous stories, art, music, and traditions into play-based and structural learning allows children to engage authentically with cultural knowledge. This encourages them to appreciate different worldviews, understand diversity, and cultivate positive attitudes towards cultural differences. For Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children, seeing their culture represented in early learning programs strengthens identity and fosters a sense of belonging. Early childhood is a crucial period for identity formation, and validating children's cultural experiences builds confidence, self-esteem, and resilience. Culturally responsive programs connect children's home lives, community, and formal learning environments. For example, including Indigenous stories, inviting elders to share knowledge, and incorporating traditional music, dance, and art that helps children understand the relevance and richness of their cultural heritage. These practices also engage peers, fostering cross-cultural understanding, inclusivity, and respect. Bridging home, community, and educational environments ensures that all children experience a sense of belonging and identity affirmation. Authentic learning experiences are central to embedding Indigenous perspectives. These experiences are meaningful, culturally grounded, and connected to children's everyday lives. Examples include storytelling with Indigenous narratives, exploring ecosystems through Indigenous ecological knowledge, engaging in traditional arts and crafts, and learning Indigenous songs, dance, and languages. Storytelling, for instance, supports literacy learning, communication, and imagination while teaching moral lessons and cultural history. Outdoor activities grounded in Indigenous knowledge foster scientific thinking, environmental awareness, and respect for country. Authentic experiences strengthen relationships with communities and ensure that learning is culturally accurate. Collaborating with local elders allows children to learn directly from cultural custodians. Integrating these experiences across daily routines ensures that Indigenous perspectives are embedded naturally and consistently, cultivating empathy, respect, and cultural awareness in all children. Embedding Indigenous perspectives aligns closely with national frameworks. The Early Years Learning Framework emphasises respect for diversity, equity, and cultural competence. Principle 4, Respect for Diversity, highlights the importance of valuing multiple cultural perspectives and affirming children's identities. From a practical perspective, embedding Indigenous perspectives supports the EYLF principles such as responsiveness to children, intentional teaching, and creating culturally rich learning environments. Similarly, the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers guide educators in planning and implementing culturally responsive teaching. Standards 1.4, 2.4, and 3.5 emphasize understanding students' diverse backgrounds and integrating Indigenous knowledge into pedagogy. This alignment ensures that embedding Indigenous perspectives is a professional responsibility, enhances curriculum quality, and fosters meaningful learning outcomes for all children. Implementing this change involves a multifaceted methodology. First, educators will undertake professional development to build cultural competence, including workshops on historical context, contemporary issues, and culturally responsive pedagogy. Second, Indigenous perspectives will be integrated across all curriculum areas, from literacy and numeracy to science and creative arts. Third, community engagement is crucial. We will collaborate with elders and local Indigenous organisations to ensure that cultural authenticity and relevance is present. Fourth, reflective practice and evaluation will support continuous improvement. Educators will document observations, engage in peer discussions, and gather feedback from community partners. Finally, high-quality resources such as Indigenous authored literature, multimedia, and culturally accurate art materials will be provided to support immersive and engaging learning experiences. Evaluating this change will consider benefits for children, educators, and communities. Children will develop empathy, respect, and a stronger understanding of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures, alongside a sense of identity and belonging. Educators will gain cultural competence, confidence in delivering inclusive curricula, and stronger community connections. Communities will benefit from validated cultural knowledge, strengthened partnerships with early learning services, and shared responsibility in nurturing culturally aware future generations. In conclusion, embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives in early childhood education is essential. It promotes identity, inclusivity, and respect, and ensures that learning is culturally responsive. By aligning with the EYLF and the APST, we provide children, educators, and communities with meaningful and sustainable outcomes. This approach not only supports continuous improvement, but also fosters culturally competent and socially responsible learners, building a foundation for an inclusive and equitable future. Thank you for listening, and I encourage you to consider how we can implement these strategies in our own early childhood settings to create lasting, positive change.